Welcome to Renaissance period. In this topic, we will go back in time and track down different artists and their contributions and how these contributions shape the world of artistry in today's generation. So this movement originated in Italy and spanned from the 14th to the 16th century. Renaissance means rebirth in French, and it began in Florence, Tuscany in the Middle Ages and later spread to the rest of Europe. Renaissance art is a period of revival and creativity. It is a period of greater learning and curiosity, which led many learners and artists to develop and engage in new forms of art. So we have here the characteristics that shape the Renaissance art movement. So first, we have the rebirth of humanism and naturalism. From the word rebirth, it rediscovers the teachings of ancient Greece and Rome, evolving the previous beliefs of the Middle Ages into a culture that focused on the beauty of individual and the desire to learn. And as humanism spread, it caused Italian artists to implement realism, create more visual art, and depict the intellectual flourishing characteristics of the Renaissance. We also have the perspective and depth in art, in which defines different views of pictures as they added and showed a front and back or show distance. Next is create non-religious themes, because as church faded in the Middle Ages and the Middle Ages declined, the non-religious theme was brought by when the church crashed right before the Renaissance. Next is privately owned art, wherein art became more popular in society and became more expected in homes. Also, we have the sculpture and architecture, which gives more respect for the new topics of the sculpture and architecture, such as buildings, statue, model, etc. And artists became popular with their art, in which artists rose in the social pyramid because of their artwork. Three-dimensional, in which art is observed in terms of its height, width, and depth, such as pottery and sculptures. Realism, in a sense, Renaissance sculptures and paintings brought a more realistic approach to their mythical figures, usually in the midst of movement or an activity. Also, the emphasis of human figure, balance in other composition, and the depiction of classical themes, which include themes of humanism, naturalism, individualism, and classicism.
Now, let us know who are these artists who flaunted their talent during the Renaissance period. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452 in Florence. Few of the many famous and influential paintings of Leonardo during the Renaissance period are The Last Supper and Mona Lisa. For Leonardo, he considered immense eyesight as the main avenue to knowledge since it conveys immediate experiences of a human person. Did you know that despite of being dubbed as the most popular artist, Da Vinci never received any formal education, but instead, he only received instructions at home. Back then, Leonardo used to write his ideas about arts and mathematics on his journal, so I think it's safe to say that Leonardo was a self-taught genius. Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni was born on March 6, 1475 in Florence. Michelangelo was considered as one of the greatest artists of the Renaissance and probably of all time, wherein a number of his paintings rank among the most famous in existence. Although the most famous ceiling of Sistine Chapel were probably the best-known works of Michelangelo, he primarily thought of himself as a sculptor rather than a painter. Michelangelo was notoriously picky with regards to the marble he uses for his sculptures, but did you know that Michelangelo's most famous statue of David was made from a block that the artist deemed to be useless? Raphael or Raffaello Sanzio was known to be a master painter and architect of the Italian High Renaissance. He was best known for his Madonnas and for his large figure in Vatican. Raphael was considered as the prince of painters since he is the youngest painter in the Renaissance period. He started to learn about painting at a young age and mastered philosophy at the age of 11 through his father Giovanni Santi. During his time, Raphael was a rival of Michelangelo because of people comparing his works to him. Did you know that one of Raphael's painting, which is a portrait of a young man, was stolen during World War II and has not yet recovered even up to this day? Next up is Donatello or Donato di Niccolo di Bettobardi was born in Florence. He was known as a pioneer in many aspects because of his survival of several classical forms of techniques in painting. The inscriptions and signatures on his works like the Crucifixion and Penitent Magdalene are among the earliest examples of the revival of classical Roman lettering. A good deal is known about Donatello's career, but little is known about his character and personality. That's the reason why Donatello was rumored to be homosexual, because he never got the chance to get married. Sandro Botticelli was known to be one of the greatest painters of the Florentine Renaissance. His works like The Birth of Venus and Primavera are often said to epitomize for modern viewers the spirit of Renaissance. Botticelli's father was a tanner who apprenticed Sandro to a goldsmith after his schooling was finished, but since Sandro preferred painting, his father placed him under Filippo Lippi, who was also a Florentine master. Did you know that Sandro Botticelli was not the birth name of Sandro, but Alessandro di Bariano di Vanni Filippi? Wow, that was a mouthful name. No wonder he stick with the name Sandro.
And now, we will see the most famous artworks of the Renaissance artists. The Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. Known for its mystery and unique history, the Mona Lisa quickly became an iconic masterpiece loved by viewers for centuries. It is currently located in Louvre Museum, estimated to be worth 800 million as of today. The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. It is one of the most famous paintings in the world. It portrays a moment of high tension when surrounded by the apostles as they shared Passover. Jesus says, "One of you will betray me." And all the apostles, as human beings who do not understand what is about to occur, are agitated, whereas Christ alone, conscious of his divine mission, sits in lonely, transfigured serenity. The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo. The illustration portrays the birth of the first man. As Adam reaches out to God, it brings to mind the notion that man is created in the image of God. The Last Judgment by Michelangelo is among the most powerful renditions of the moment in the history of Christian art. The work depicts the second coming of Christ and shows the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. The School of Athens by Raphael has come to symbolize the marriage of art, philosophy, and science that was the hallmark of the Italian Renaissance. The two prominent figures in the middle are Aristotle and Plato. The Sistine Madonna by Raphael is one of the most well-known Renaissance masterpieces in the world. It portrays a vision emerging in the clouds to the saints that the Virgin Mary, bearing the young Christ in her arms, marches into the earthly world. The Kiss of Judas by Giotto is based on the gospel tale of a disciple betraying his master. It depicts the clash of good and evil in the meeting of lips of Christ and Judas. The Primavera by Sandro Botticelli is a painting of the group of people in an orange grove. It depicts the Medici family adopting the orange tree as its family symbol. The Birth of Venus by Botticelli shows the triumphant goddess of love and beauty, Venus, as she appears to attract all attention to herself, being the physical and spiritual symbol of beauty. The Assumption of the Virgin by Titian is an oil painting that depicts the miraculous raising of Mary, Mother of Jesus, into heaven. When we observe, we can clearly see the Assumption of the Virgin is a departure from the conventional Venetian art, which features both suspense and tension on the canvas.